There's a new law in New York for models, and chances are your contract is already breaking it. It might be violating rights you didn't even know you had. I'm going to show you how to use AI to check if your contract has any illegal clauses and make sure you're getting the protections this law guarantees you should have. I used to be a full-time fashion model. Then I was a founder who built a company that helped creators better understand and negotiate their contracts. Today, I work in AI, and I worked with the Model Alliance to help pass and support the Fashion Workers Act. So let's dive in. So first things first, I need to get some resources. So here I'm going to the official New York State Senate bill page. You can scroll down, you can read it here. So if you're curious, you can read the entire bill here, and you can also download it, which I'm going to be doing for a later step. Next, I'm going to be going to the Model Alliance page to get this quick explainer of the Fashion Workers Act. They did a before and after of different provisions that this law now protects against, and I personally find this part really helpful and useful to be able to actually understand and see the difference between what our rights were before versus what our rights are now. I'm also going to download this one. Though, if you're on this website, fully recommend checking it out. Some really cool resources. And I promise you, this is in no way sponsored by them. I'm just a really big supporter. Next, open up OpenAI. And you can use a few different websites. I'm choosing to use OpenAI for right now. You can also use Claude, Gemini, different models, different UIs. This is one that I personally like. So here I am. First thing is that you're going to upload those 2 documents that you just downloaded. And here you're going to be feeding in basically information for this chat to have context on what the new bill is and what you can actually do with it. Next, I had this dummy fake contract that I made just for the sake of this video to kind of show you how it works. And to be really clear, this is a horrible contract. It breaks so many rules. So if your contract looks anything like this, definitely be aware. And basically, I'm just going to ask it to compare and contrast, see what this law says, what's in my contract, and see what is missing. Wow. It references the original clause, it says what's wrong, and then it explains why and how it can be improved. The next step is that even seeing this, maybe it's not super clear, it's still pretty verbose, so I'm going to ask it a few more questions. So here, let's take one of these clauses. We'll say power of attorney. This is a super important clause, but it's also really difficult to understand. So I'm going to ask it to explain it to me a little bit more. And here I get a super simplified explanation. All right, so one really important point that I want to bring up here is this next part. Is this legal advice? Absolutely not. This is not legal advice. This is not a lawyer. And ChatGPT will even admit it. One thing that's really cool is that it actually recommends to go to the Model Alliance website and reach out to them if you have any questions. Of course, there's other resources. Talk to a lawyer. This is absolutely not advice. Neither is AI. It's just a tool that can help inform. Okay, with that in mind, though, let's see if we can make this a little bit more actionable. So I'm going to ask it to rewrite the contract, being up to date and in line with the Fashion Workers Act, and see if it does it. Amazing. And you can see here the responses. You can copy it if you'd like, but that information is yours and you are armed with the amount of information that you need to be actually go into those negotiations. You can do this, as I mentioned, with 3 other tools, but one other thing I actually really wanted to show you is going to be this. So if you go to NotebookLM, so create a new project, you can upload these documents, same process as last time. And you could use this as well to ask it questions to better understand. Personally, I like the formatting of the responses in ChatGPT a little bit better, but that's just me. You can do the same thing here. And another really cool part is this right over here. It actually lets you create what's like a mini podcast, and it becomes an expert on the materials that you just provided it. And so if, this bill is quite verbose, it's long, if you want to be able to on the go listen and have a better insight into your rights, you can actually just click right here, and in a few minutes, you'll see
fashion. You probably picture the runaways, right? The glossy magazines, the global glamour. It's this huge aspirational world. But the people right at the heart of it, the models, well, their reality hasn't always matched that image.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and the models, especially in a hub like New York, they've historically lacked really basic labor protections. Protections most workers just expect.
Right. And that gap, that lack of protection is really the core problem we're digging into today. But there's a big development here. The New York State Fashion Workers Act.
Exactly.
We've got some great sources for this deep dive explainers from groups like the Model Alliance, who were key players, even excerpts from some pretty eye-opening contracts
Yeah, those are revealing.
and the actual text of the new law itself.
which is pretty wild. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. Laws like the Fashion Workers Act only work if you actually understand how to use them. So if you find this helpful, please share with a friend. I think the more people who know how to actually understand and negotiate their contracts, the better.